Okay, yes, guys. Hope you're all well. As promised, for those of you that signed up for the photo shoot, we're going to be doing sort of 3 live trainings in the build-up to the shoot. Obviously, you're going to all be working quite closely with the coaches, but this is just a chance for you to jump on a live. Me and Zoe to go through some education with you to hopefully just help you fine-tune things. If anyone's got any questions along the way, just make sure you pop them in the comments. We've made a really good presentation for you tonight. Just focusing on the things that you need to really, make sure you're dialing in now, 9 weeks out of the shoot. 9 weeks is a long time. You can have great results in 9 weeks if you start, doing things consistently. But at the same time, 9 weeks will go quite quick as well. So me and Zoe have both done a few photo shoots now ourselves. And yeah, we've both, been in different places when we did our shoots. So you can ask any questions you've got along the way. Anything to add on that, Zoe?
No, I think you've summarised what we're going to, be covering tonight pretty well. So like I've done the one photo shoot, so I've had a little bit of a dabble, and it was an interesting experience, and it's definitely something you can learn from, and especially if you're looking for something to work towards, it can be a great motivational tool to get you, keep you consistent with your training and nutrition and all those sort of things.
And that's it as well, isn't it? Because, if you're not an elite athlete, if you haven't got a wedding, if you haven't, got a holiday to Ibiza or anything like that with the lads, sometimes it can be a little bit, monotonous training. Training is hard, and you've got to be focused. You've got to have goals. You've got to have that self-motivation if you want to do well. And something like a photo shoot sometimes is great because it gives you that extra impetus, that extra sort of spring in your step, or that fear factor as well. Sometimes, no one wants to look silly. Everyone wants to, do what they say they're going to do. If you say you're going to do something, you want to do it. So by saying you're going to do a photo shoot, it's it's putting that little bit of pressure on yourself in a nice way, just to stretch yourself. Nothing, no success really happens in the comfort zone. So it's just putting you out that comfort zone basically. So the first thing I think with the photo shoot, there's Zoe and Judith. You've got to enjoy it. All right, there's no pressure. You're not entering Mr. Olympia. It's not the Arnold Classic. You're not going on stage in your budgie smugglers or bikini. You can wear whatever you want to wear on the day. Okay, you can wear a t-shirt, you can wear a bikini, you can wear a crop top, you can wear a tracksuit. It doesn't matter. All we want to make sure is that you're enjoying the process, you feel comfortable on the day, and you're wearing whatever you feel comfortable. It doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. This is your photo shoot. No one is going to see the photos unless you're happy for us to share them or use them for marketing and purposes like this. But yeah, the main thing is enjoy the process. Anything you'd like to add with that, Zoe?
Like in terms of when I've, myself and I've spoken to some of my clients, is we sort of like use it as a way of like documenting or catching like a snap point, like a point in time. So it's like a way of mapping out your pointer along your fitness journey almost. So I think I'm potentially, I don't know if I want to put this in public now, but potentially might do one in November myself, and hopefully be in a better position than my previous shoots. So it's just showing you at different stages through your own fitness journey. And it doesn't have to be all about body composition and showing off as much skin as possible. It could be like a photo of you doing your favorite lift. So you might have started training at the gym and you can squat with a barbell on your back, and then you do your photo shoot and you just you get a picture of you squatting with the barbell, and it just shows how far you've come from when you first started, really.
Exactly. So that's all it's about, really, guys. It's just challenging yourself. It's having something to focus on, giving yourself something to step out the comfort zone, and having some fun on the day. And everyone that's done the photo shoot so far, they've thoroughly enjoyed it and they're glad they've done it. And a lot of people said, "Oh, I was so nervous, but I can't wait for the next one," which is credit really to the sense of satisfaction you're going to get from doing it and putting yourself in that position. They were some of the girls. You've seen Zoe and Emma and Judith, and here's some of the lads. This is Joe, one of my online clients. He plays football, and he tends to let his nutrition slip a little bit. So having the photo shoot was great for him. It just meant that he had to track his calories a bit more vigilantly and eat a bit better, basically. And my mate Darren, he had a nasty accident about 4 or 5 years ago. He almost died. Fell off his bike when he was severely drunk and cracked his head open. Had a nightmare, basically, in hospital and stuff. But he's just embracing life now, and he's in the shape of his life at 35, 36, which is great. And he enjoyed the photo shoot, even though he looked fantastic. He thought that he could have done better in the build-up. So the next one now, he can obviously dial things in a bit more, and you'll be in a lot better position next time, having done the first one. So yeah, just enjoy it. And like Zoe said, use the photo shoot as a goal. You know, it can be a short-term goal to achieve the longer-term objective. So you might want to lose 5 stone. Well, let's celebrate the fact you've lost 2 stone with a photo shoot. That's gonna be great. It gives you something to train for. There's a little celebration halfway through, a little benchmark, and then obviously you can crack on again then and have the and do the real thing when you've lost all your weight. Anything, Zoe?
Yeah, like one of my clients, she's done multiple shoots now, and and she had like various little targets for each one. And like the first photo shoot, she wanted to lose, like it was more fat loss focused, so she wanted to lose enough weight so she felt comfortable doing the shoot in like a crop sports top, so her tummy was out. And we achieved that. And then the next shoot is like, okay, same thing again, but this time we want to see a little bit more muscle definition. So and the goalposts have just shifted slightly every time, but it's just like I say, it's a way of documenting how far she's come from day one, really, and just celebrating that success.
Yeah, perfect. So that's exactly that. Next slide then, yeah. And that's what it's about. So this is my personal journey. I just want to show you like how I looked in my first photo shoot. This was done sort of 7 years ago. There's 7 years between the first photo and the last photo. And the first photo shoot, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have a coach. I just sort of hired a photographer, kept training normally. And I didn't really know what I was doing back then. This was like the year after the year we opened the gym, basically. So we did it for a bit of marketing. Didn't even have a sunbed. Didn't even shave my chest. Just trained normally, basically. You can see over the years then how I've sort of got better in regards to looking better on the day, peaking for the photo shoot, but also as well how I've laid down more muscle tissue over the years. And that's the goal, really. That's why we do these photo shoots, is a chance to celebrate your long-term success, but it's also a chance to display whether your training is working or not. And year to year, you should be laying down more muscle tissue. If you're training 3 or 4 days a week, following the programs like we follow and write that SOS for you, you're sticking to your protein targets and eating enough calories, eating enough food, you should definitely be laying down some muscle tissue. And isn't it great to look at that journey over time to see how far that you've come? Sometimes you get a bit demotivated. There's nothing more motivating to look back and see that the training you've done over the years has actually worked for you. And is that something you're trying to do with your clients now, Zoe?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like and like even with myself, like every time I do a shoot, I want to go in a better position than when I left last time. So and it's the same, like I say, same with my clients as well. And every when you do these sort of things, like you say, every experience you're going to learn from, and you might tweak a few things, do something differently next time. And yeah, it's just just using it to keep you going, keep you focused, and it just makes things like it helps keep you on track.
Exactly. So, today, guys, we're going to give you lots of little tips. We're going to go into a little bit more about the training today, and a bit more about the basics of nutrition, because the basics of the foundation, they really, really do work. So when it comes to a photo shoot, we want to make sure we're trying to maximize muscle mass. Women want to look toned in a photo shoot. Okay. Well, toned basically means that you can see visible muscles. So the bigger your muscles are, the more prominent they are, the more toned you're going to look, especially if you have low levels of body fat. Now, if you are, looking at the human body, you've got 660 muscles. 40 to 45% of the total mass is lean muscle mass. So increasing your muscle isn't just going to make you look more toned, but it's also going to increase your metabolism. It's going to get your metabolism nice and high. All right. Now, muscle is composed of water. 75% of muscle is water. So when you step on the in-body and you see that your muscle mass has gone down, hydration can play a massive role. Okay. The other 20% of muscle is protein. If you're not hitting your protein consistently, your lean muscle mass is potentially going to drop. So we're going to look at obviously how much protein you should be eating, how much water you should be drinking as well in the lead up to the shoot, and also 5% of the substances in the muscle, minerals, salts, enzymes, and carbs. Carbs play a massive role in making you look more fuller. All right, in increasing lean muscle mass. In the photo shoot, when I'm trying to do my shoot and look the best I can, I'll eat lots of carbs in the build up to the shoot. Why? I want to maximize this 5% of miscellaneous substances within the muscle. 5% is a lot. If you can increase your muscle density by 5% by eating more carbohydrates, making sure your body is storing more glycogen, is going to have a massive impact. And we see a lot of people in the shoot, they're scared to eat carbs a few days before. All right.
Yeah.
And what happens then is their muscle mass isn't full. They're not going to look toned. They're going to look very flat. Okay. I look very flat on my last photo shoot. I wasn't happy with the way I looked because 2 or 3 days out, I looked a lot fuller. And the reason for that is I didn't maximize this 5% of miscellaneous substances. All right. My muscles made of 75% water. I actually stopped drinking water a few days out, which is obviously why I look flat. Okay. I stopped drinking water when 75% of your muscle mass is water. All right. So the advice I had didn't work for me. All right. It might work for a bodybuilder that's taking anabolics. But if you're a natural athlete, the worst thing you can probably do is dehydrate too aggressively. Okay. So that's interesting, Zoe, innit? Have you had a few clients that are worried about eating carbs in the build up to the shoot?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the female client in the last shoot, and she was a little bit nervous about having carbs and the amount I was asking her to eat. And I just sort of, I was like an absolute nag. It's like just every day, eat more carbs. And eventually she done it. And literally she was taking progress photos every day just so we could see what effect the changes were having on her body composition. And literally the day after she ate the carbs, her abs just popped. And it's like, there you go. And she could see it then. It's like, oh, right, okay, makes sense now. Yeah. So it can be a bit of a scary thing, like a few days out when we start telling you to like load up on carbohydrates and all stuff like that, especially if we've taken away from you in the beginning of the process. But things like that, it's scary, but it does work. So just trust and have faith in the process, and it's going to work for you.
The only thing is with that, guys, is you need to have a lot of muscle mass. Okay, you need to have enough muscle mass, and you also need to be lean. Okay, you need to be lean enough to do this with the carbohydrates. But we're not going to worry about that. This is something we'll do for the last dedication. But let's talk about the training now. Okay, we want to maximize our lean body mass. So there's different types of muscle fibers. You've got your type 1, which is slow. All right, these respond more to sort of lots and lots and lots of reps. To be honest with you, they're not really used much in the weight room. They're more for your cardio, your marathon running and stuff like that. They're not really the fibers we want to try and recruit in the gym because their potential for hypertrophy and muscle growth is very, very minimal. Okay, so ones we want to try and work are the 2A, the fast, and the type 2B, which are also fast. Okay, so you're going to be working the 2A first. All right, these are the explosive muscle fibers. You're going to be working on your big compound movements. And then your type 2Bs then are things you're going to be trying to knock off when you do things like rest pause, drop sets, and more volume work. Okay, so it's important that we try and maximize all these 3 types of contractions to try and maximize the hypertrophy potential. So we look as muscly and as toned as okay. So there's different types of hypertrophy, guys. Okay, so when we look at muscle tissue and muscle building, myofibrillar hypertrophy, this is the balance between an increase in protein synthesis and a decrease in protein breakdown, an increase in the number of myofibrils, enlarging the size of the muscle fiber. So think of a power lifter. They have big, bulky muscles. Why? All they do is lift big, heavy weights. Okay, I know I'm being a bit stereotypical here now, but I'm just using it as an example. I'm not saying by any means that powerlifters are stupid and they don't know how to train. Obviously they do, but lifting heavy weights is going to recruit more than myofibrillar hypertrophy. Okay, so think of your 5 sets of 5. Think of sets of 6 or below on the back squat, on the deadlift, on the chin up. These are going to be working more myofibrillar hypertrophy. Okay, then we got sacroplasmic hypertrophy. Now, sacroplasmic hypertrophy doesn't necessarily make you stronger, okay, because this is just an increase in the muscle cell non-contractile substrates. So the substrates in the muscle that don't help contract the muscle. And this is done purely, or mainly by nutritional factors. Okay, so this is why if you want to look fuller for a photo shoot, you want to be taking amino acids. All right, we need to make sure you're hitting your protein, but amino acids during the workout are going to help massively. I've just ordered a load in from Reflex, and they're really good value. We're selling them at the gym for £25 a pot. They're the cheapest EAAs I've been able to get, and they're fantastic. I used them yesterday for the first time, and they're just as good as the old Poliquin ones I used to use, which are like £60 a tub. Okay, carbs as well. And water, that's going to allow you to maximize the sacroplasmic hypertrophy. Okay, but even though we're going to do this mainly for people who shoot, whenever you train, you should get a pump. The pump is the sacroplasmic hypertrophy. Okay, so that's basically the 2 types of hypertrophy. So one is by building strength, the myofibrillar, and one is done mainly through hydration and nutrition status and more pump work. So a little bit geeky time now. So if you have any questions about this, let me know.
Yeah.
There's a few different ways that we maximize hypertrophy. Now, for all of you guys that are training in SOS, I do all of this for you. All you have to do is train 4 days a week on a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and all this is taken care of for you. Okay, but load is a great thing that maximizes hypertrophy. So you need to go heavier. Me and the coaches are always nagging you to lift heavier. How often do you nag people? So is it a daily thing?
Oh, absolutely. Every session.
Yeah.
It's like,
So do
oh,
you
come
want,
on, you can do more than
do you want to
that.
explain progressive overload in a simple way for the guys tuning in that have never heard of that term before?
Yeah, like, the principle of progressive overload, like in the most simplest way, it's you against you, and you're just trying to beat the numbers you set last time. So every time you come into the gym, if you're not recording weights, start recording your weights, and then you just come in, look at what you did last time. Right, okay, tell yourself I'm going to beat that today. So let's say, I don't know, it's 4 sets of 10 on the back squat. Last week you did 50, 52.5, 55, 57.5. Okay, this week you're going to come in. Whatever you did on set 2, you're going to start on set 1, which will then mean by set 4 you're going to finish on a heavier weight, and also the amount of volume in terms of total tonnage you lifted across the 4 sets is going to be higher as well. So you're just always coming in, like saying, trying to beat yourself almost. And like in terms of progressive overloads, you can either achieve it by increasing the weight you've lifted or by doing more reps without weight. So it's there's loads of ways you can do it, because eventually you will hit a bit of a glass ceiling in terms of load on the bar, but the other ways you can achieve it is by increasing that volume as well.
And on this phase at the moment in SOS, you're doing the back off sets. So what you'll find is the more you do the back off sets, the more your body gets used to, repping out after you've recruited those muscle fibers on the 10-8-6. We've got that back off set of 12 or more. You should find that your body's ability to get past 12 improves week by week, because you're getting stronger. Your body's adapting to the training program. You should be able to lift more weight as your body adapts. But guys, load is vital. You're not going to activate the hypertrophy pathways if you're coming into the gym and you're lifting the same weights over and over and over again. You must track your weights. And if you're not doing that now with the build up the photo shoot, it's critical that you do. Now, when you lift heavier, guess what? Lifting heavier increases protein synthesis. Your body's ability to turn over protein and repair the damaged muscle tissue is increased when you start going heavier in the gym. You're sending your body that stress response. You're telling your biceps, when you lift heavier dumbbells on the bicep curl, to lay down more muscle tissue. All right, because the stress of doing this is hard. Let's adapt. Yeah, let's lay down more muscle tissue on these muscles, because on every Monday, Sam makes me do bicep curls. All right. So you're telling your body the routine of doing it, the stress response, to lay down more muscle tissue. All right. But only by going heavier will you do that. Okay. Muscle damage is another way, obviously, to activate hypertrophy as well. All right. So it's important that, obviously going heavier is one way. But like Zoe said, trying to do it for repeated sets. We want to cause muscle damage. All right. And then when the protein goes in there then to help repair, it repairs bigger and stronger. All right. And also, we want to increase satellite cell activation. Okay. We repair and replace muscle fibers. We damage them and we repair them so they build up stronger. And that's where rest comes in as well. That's why rest is important. Now, let's look at the activation of the hypertrophy pathway. Okay. Protein synthesis 12 to 24 hours after the workout is 100% increase post exercise. So it's very, very important that we have protein post workout, right, to help repair. Now, the interesting thing is, all right, low intensity training. So imagine you go in the gym and you don't follow progressive overload. You're using those same 5K dumbbells you've been using for the last 8 months because you don't track your weights and you like the 5K dumbbells. All right. Guess what? You're going to have a shorter protein synthesis window. All right. Very short. So the anabolic window to build muscle tissue is shorter. Whereas if you follow progressive overload, you don't wait for the coach to tell you to go heavier. You've already looked at your training week. You've journaled it. You've logged it. You know the weights you're going to be trying to lift before you get into the gym. If you push yourself a little bit more, you're going to have a longer protein synthesis window. Okay. So this basically means you've got more potential for hypertrophy. Now, if you're a beginner, what does hard training look like? You can get hypertrophy using 60% of your 1 rep max because you've been doing aerobics, you've been doing body pump for years. All right, 60% for you is heavy in relation to what you're used to. As you get more advanced, you're going to need to lift heavier. And as you get really advanced, again, you're going to need to lift heavier. So 20 reps is perfect for someone that's brand new. All right. 12 reps is a great rep range for someone that isn't, is more intermediate. And 7 reps can be a perfect rep for people that are very advanced in terms of activating this hypertrophy pathway. Okay. Anything you want to add on that, Zoe?
Yeah, I do want to knock you off your stride there. If the presentation slides aren't showing up at the moment, so I know you've got all that laid out on the slide. There we go.
That's all there. Okay.
Yeah, in terms of like the load, just every set after you complete the set, just ask yourself how many reps could I have done. Usually, if the answer is 2 or more, then go a little bit heavier. Because like you say, we want to be causing that muscle damage. We want to be getting close to fatigue, especially as we progress through the workouts. More like, I know we're going to touch on this later, but in the B's and C's especially, you want to be getting close to fatigue, or if not hitting failure by the end of the sets.
Exactly. So, it's quite scientific, isn't it? And when the coaches are going heavier, they're not just nagging you. There's rhyme for the reason. Okay. Now, let's go through it again. The 8 factors affecting hypertrophy. Okay. So this is worth you, really taking notes here, guys, because this is vital. All right. If you can't get bigger, your arms are not growing, your booty won't grow, you can't get thick abs or whatever it is for any reason. Are you maximizing these 8 things? So the first thing is load. People want to have a 6-pack, but what do? They do sets of 30 or 40 or 50 crunches. If you wanted big quads, would you ever put a barbell back squat and do 50 reps? You'd have to be insane. All right. You do sets of 5, sets of 7, sets of 10. The old school hypertrophy, bodybuilding routine, sets of 10 to 12. But when it comes to certain muscle groups, for some reason, we don't train other muscles like the muscles we've had success with. So muscular tension is the most important factor for hypertrophy. And it normally happens between sort of 80 to 95% of 1RM. So in terms of your rep ranges, we're looking at anything from like 8 to 2 reps. Okay. So low reps are great for type 2 fibers. These are the heavy, fast twitch, explosive fibers. So anything between 2 and 8 reps. Now, if you look at SOS, the way we program, our A series tends to involve rep ranges between 2 and 8. Our current rep scheme, 10, 8, 6, and then we have a backup set. The last rep scheme we did, I think it was 7, 7, 5, 5, 3, 3. Again, all the reps in that training cycle fell in between these percentages. Okay, so yeah, load is important. You need to go heavy to activate the type 2 muscle fibers, and that's what we tend to do in our A series. Okay, so the start of the workout, we dedicate to hypertrophy for these type 2 fibers. Eccentric contractions. Okay, what does this mean? This is lowering the weight slowly. All right, I nag all the time. Slow it down. 4 seconds down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Explode. Yeah, our 4-second tempo is our standardized tempo. All right, it's not super slow eccentrics. We do sometimes do submaximal eccentrics. We're using 6-0-1-0, 8-0-1-0. We've done 10-0-1-0 before now. Okay, we've also put on in eccentric pauses. All right, but our standardized tempo on our A series is normally 4 seconds down, and our standardized tempo on our B series is 3 seconds down. We want to control the eccentric contractions. Now, why is this? Yes, you're going to get more time and attention. The more tension the muscle's under, the more stress we cause, and the more potential for growth. We're asking you to do more work. But hypertrophy, okay, is one thing called P70 S6K. All right, this contractions is the only muscular contraction that activates this hypertrophy pathway. Concentric contractions do not trigger this mechanism. Okay, so if you're going into the gym all the time and just lifting weights heavy, 2-0-1-0, lowering it and lifting it, all right, you're not activating this this pathway, which has been associated with hypertrophy. So you're minimizing your potential. Okay, so make sure you stick to those tempos. Now, on the negative side of things, you have to be super careful. Too much eccentric training has been shown to have a negative effect because it can increase protein degradation. Is too damaging for the muscle cells. So we can overtrain, we can undertrain. We need to find that happy medium. All right, it's hard. Louis Simmons had a fantastic quote. All right, it's not about training. Training isn't about stimulation. All right, it's not about annihilation. It's about optimization. Okay, so we don't just want to stimulate. We don't just want to annihilate. we want to optimize. Okay, so it's finding that happy medium between the two. If you can't walk out of the gym to your car, all right, and you can't have a protein shake within 30 to 45 minutes after your workout because you still feel sick, you've probably gone a little bit too hard. Okay, so you should walk out the gym and think, fuck, that was tough. All right, but not think, oh my God, I'm done. It's finding that happy medium, okay? So obviously that's relative to different people. More advanced people can go a bit harder. Beginners can take it a bit easier. That's why we tend to go a bit easier maybe with people on the 21-day challenge if they haven't experienced this type of training before. The other thing then is the hormonal response to training. All right, training hard increases growth hormone, okay, which is great. All right, growth hormone can increase by about 170 times from baseline after big compound movements done for high reps. Okay, so the back off sets, they're great. You know, if you're backing off and doing 15 reps on the back squat for one set, that's going to have a massive impact on your growth hormone. So if the coaches tell you to go, to push, to give it everything, do it. What they mean by saying that is we want to maximize growth hormone. Okay, so pushing your body hard. Anything you want to add to that, Zoe?
No, not really. I think you pretty much nailed that summary then. But yeah, it's just a case of, like you say, yeah, just maximizing. You know, I was geeky and sciencey, and you might think, oh, this is really for me. But yeah, try and just maximize all these factors as much as you can. Growth hormone plays a bit of a role in fat loss as well, isn't it? Doesn't it, Sam? In terms of like,
oh yeah, it's going to have a massive. You know, if you're releasing growth hormone, your body's going to have a massive metabolic effect. Growth hormone is anti-aging as well. You look at Sylvester Stallone; he uses growth hormones, and the guy's in his 70s and he's still jacked and shredded. And I think he's got a resting heart rate of around 48 beats per minute. I think he's his biological age is a lot younger. So growth hormone is anti-aging massively. So yeah, if you're going to naturally boost that by training hard, that's going to have a massive positive effect on many factors you like. Okay, and then muscle glycogen stars. We spoke about this already, so a little bit in terms of trying to maximize the hypertrophy geared towards more glycogen replenishment. So low glycogen levels. If you're low carb, this inhibits protein synthesis. Okay, so after a workout, we want to maximize protein synthesis. This is why you'll see me when I'm lean and do my photo shoot. I have my whey protein shake with my Oreo cereal. I'll have my Cocoa Pops. I'll have my Cheerios, my Sugar Puffs. I'm using the carbs to maximize protein synthesis. Okay, having just a protein shake after training is only good if you're not lean. When you're lean, we want to make sure we're trying to maximize mTOR, which is the signaling to synthesize proteins. So carbs with protein post-workout will signal mTOR or regulate mTOR to function a lot better. Okay, and mTOR is key really in terms of laying down and repairing muscle tissue. Okay, now low glycogen contributes to dysregulation of cortisol as well. So if we have carbs after the workout, we are then mitigating cortisol. Okay, so if someone faints, what do? We give them some sugar. All right, it's a stressful event. Carbs will allow cortisol levels to come back to normal, and the sooner they come back to normal, the sooner you can recover. Okay, so that's important as well. Anything you want to add on about the cortisol and carbs?
Yeah, I just want to say, like, in terms of, like, obviously when we exercise, we are placing stress on the body, but that's because we want to bring about an adaptation. So, we initiate that fight or flight, that sympathetic nervous system. But as soon as the session's finished, we want to try and get back into our rest and digest parasympathetic state as much as possible. So, yeah, like say exercise is going to spike that cortisol. And one of the things which is going to help bring cortisol back down is by having carbohydrates spike insulin. So, utilizing carbohydrates post-workout can be really, really beneficial. And like I say, shifting that body back into that rest and digest state so then it can, recover and bring about the adaptations we're looking for.
Yeah, exactly that. So, yeah, if your coach tells you to have carbs after the workout, what are they trying to do? We want to maximize mTOR. We want to make sure we maximize the workout. We just train really, really hard. Now, let's make sure the body's response is perfect in terms of that workout as well. So, just training hard and then going for a run. Like, what are you doing? Like, we've just worked hard in the gym to, get your body in a place to recover and repair. And now you're going for a run. It's like, you're giving your nervous system different signals. Do we want to lay down muscle tissue and get stronger? Or do we want to, just forget that workout and do something else? You're giving your body two different signals. And your body isn't that intelligent. It's going to get confused. It isn't going to maximize either of them. Okay, you've got one ass, you can't ride two horses. Do you want to lay down muscle mass, or do you want to get cardiovascularly fit? Okay, you can potentially do the two, but you want to make sure you do them on different days. Okay, doing them on like straight after each other, you're just wasting an hour of work in the gym, basically. All right, the body doesn't work like that. Train and recover. And the other training thing is training volume. All right, training too hard is going to mess up your immune system. All right, putting on muscle is hard work. All right, losing fat is hard work. If your immune system's compromised, then you're fighting infection, you're fighting symptoms of fatigue, you're fighting symptoms of overtraining. Yeah, guess what? Your body isn't going to lay down muscle tissue. It isn't going to lose body fat. All right, it's going to just become inflamed and grumpy, and your immune system's going to get really tired. Okay, and you're going to get ill. And when you get ill, guess what? Yeah, you can't train. When you can't train, you can't maintain the muscle mass you worked hard to build over the years. You end up losing muscle, and it's going to take you a few weeks to get that back. So we want to keep in that positive cycle. Train hard, go home, rest and recover. If you watch the Lions or the All Blacks or anyone that was doing the Six Nations, as soon as they finish, what are the boys doing? They're drinking protein shakes. What are they doing then straight away? They're having an ice bath. Yeah, they're putting ice on the wounded or injured muscles. They're trying to get a recovery process started straight away. They don't come out with the game and start doing sprints, or I'll do some burpees. It's all about recovery. All right, so you want to look like an athlete, you want to be lean, you want to be muscular, you want to be toned, you want to be healthy. Start training like an athlete. All right, less is more, but make sure you maximize the less. All right, focus on quality rather than quantity. Otherwise, yeah. What?
Oh no, I was gonna say, like years ago, one of my old PTs said to me, like, he said, train for performance and the aesthetics will follow. So yeah, just mirroring what you said there, like, you want to look like an athlete, then behave, train, nutrition wise, eat like one as well. So you don't really see, like, I don't know, an overweight sprinter, do you? So yeah, so just like adopt some of the principles, and you can really reap the benefits from them.
Exactly. Now imagine you had $1 million racehorse, okay, and he's going to win the Grand National for you. Okay, that's your aim as your trainer. Would you take that racehorse out and run it till it couldn't do anymore, till it was knackered? So would you keep running it so like his technique went? It couldn't take long strides. It started getting dizzy. And would you do that? Of course not. What would you do? You'd run it hard. You give it rest. You'd rehydrate it. You run it hard again. You might build up the intensity over time. All right. You might start with 3 sprints and then rest. Then a few days later, you might do 4 sprints. But you're going to have a bit more of a calculated approach to making sure this $1 million racehorse peaks for the day. And it's the same thing with the photo shoot. We want to make sure you peak for the day. All right. So and obviously give you skills along the way so that you can do it again. If there's another race in 2 weeks after the Grand National, you want to be able to peak again. So making sure you treat your body like an athlete and you're prioritizing rest is important. Most people don't rest enough, and other people rest too much. Again, finding that balance. Yeah. Okay, so again, overtraining. What are symptoms of overtraining? A big drop in body weight overnight, a loss of appetite, feeling fatigued, poor HRV and readiness. You wear the Oura ring. Are you not recovering properly? Another sign of overtraining is when you go in the gym and the weights you did the previous week feel heavier. Like, why are they so heavy? It happened with Susie today. I was training her. We had the Zercher press on the floor, I think it was it? Or Z press on the floor. And she couldn't maintain her weights last week. I said, right, what did you do over the weekend? 2 days ago, she did boot camp, which is fine, but there was loads of overhead pressing. So her shoulders were fatigued. Now, she managed to progress on all of her other weights, so it wasn't a sign of overtraining her total body, but those muscles were really fatigued from the boot camp on Sunday. Now, her goals are fat loss. She's losing fat. It's working. But that just goes to show how a random workout thrown in the middle of your program can disrupt your ability to progress. Okay, so it's fine. We're going to manage that a bit better now. Next week, she's going to do boot camp on Saturday, which will give her an extra day's recovery for the Tuesday upper body. If we had anyone like that, so where maybe they've done their own training and it's affected their ability to progress?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, I've had a few do it over time, and so yeah, and it's common conversations I've had with some of my clients. It's like, you're doing too much. You need to calm down. It's like, I got one client who trains literally 7 days a week, and some days she's running, some days she's walking. She's doing a Joe Wicks HIIT workout. She's doing an ab workout. She's training with me. She's doing semi-private, and it's like, whoa, calm down. And she has gotten better, to be fair. She's like I say, she's learning to recover more now and prioritize our rest with utilizing yoga instead of a HIIT workout. So we're trying to get that balance, but still make sure she can keep active. So it's all a learning curve, and you've got to find what works for you and still drives those results.
Yeah, but the main thing we should all try and focus on if we want to get better for a photo shoot is laying down muscle tissue. If you want to do a photo shoot year after year and just look the same, then that's great. The main reason I look different over the years with my photo shoots is I've laid down muscle tissue. So that's got to be the priority if you want to look better for your shoots. If you're happy just to do a photo shoot and look the same, then that's fine as well. Just let your coach know your goals, and we'll help you. Work on that. Now, recovery and training can work. You do a lot of aerobic work, Zoe, did you?
Yeah.
And do you want to explain how that helps your recovery in your HRV?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I tend to do I do 2 cardio sessions a week at the moment, 45 minutes in length, and it's just low intensity, steady state. So I wear my MyZone belt, which we've got the MyZone system in the gym, and I keep my heart rate anywhere between sort of 120 and 135 beats per minute. And this is me trying to get those aerobic adaptations to training. So in terms of what I'm looking for is bringing heart rate down. Like I say, it's not stressful on the body, so it allows me to still recover, whilst and also like burn calories as well to help increase, keep moving fat loss, which is what my target is at the moment. So it's a way of keeping active, not stressing the body, and then bring about those adaptations. So reduce blood pressure, lower heart rate, and improved HRV.
And that'll have a positive effect when you go into the gym then, because if you are doing your back off sets, it's going to mean that your lungs are not fatigued when you do it because you're more aerobically fit. A lot of people stopped today on the pendulum squat because their heart rate was in the red zone. The pendulum squat today, we had the 15 reps, 1.25 rep. They were stopping because they just couldn't breathe. They couldn't get the oxygen to their muscles quick enough. So the more aerobically fit you are, the more your heart rate and your cardiovascular fitness will be a limiting factor. I'm at the moment, because I'm not playing football at the moment. I've signed for 2 teams, and I've left my previous club. All right, player manager, I got the sack. Or Talbot, there we go. But yeah, I'm not signed for anyone now. So what I got to do on a Wednesday, I'm doing a 5K run, and on a Saturday, I'm doing a 5K run. Now, what I'm doing myself, if I don't beat my 5K time, I'm then going immediately on the bike and doing 5K on the Concept 2 bike or the Assault bike, 5K, nice and steady. Yeah, so that's how I'm playing a little game with myself. But I'm trying to push hard on a 5K run. A 5K run, no matter how hard you push, is never going to be HIIT training because it takes 25 minutes. It's always going to be aerobic. The fact that it's going to limit your potential is how much oxygen you can get in your lungs. All right, so that's what I'm doing at the moment. So my Wednesday and Saturdays are more recovery days, and I make sure I get in a few yogas a week, and I also have a massage every week as well, so I can push my training limits a bit more because I'm trying to do a bit more on the yin and the yang side. The yin is the hard, the yang is the soft. So I'm doing yoga, I'm doing massage, I'm making sure my diet's spot on. If you've got those things spot on, you're managing your HRV, you're sleeping well, you have got potential to push a little bit more if your stress in your life is a little bit less. So that's a few interesting points. But you can train on rest days, but make sure it doesn't turn into a HIIT workout. Aerobic work, mitochondria work, slow, steady state work is best. So you can train on rest days potentially, just don't get too excited. And then the last thing then is your motor unit full spectrum. In order to maximize hypertrophy, we want to make sure we're challenging muscles in different ways. If you look at the SOS program, what we'll do is we'll do tricep press downs in accumulation 1. That's the phase you're doing at the moment. The next phase, you'll do tricep extensions. All right, so we're training the triceps in a different position. All right, the next phase, we'll do French press. So we're training the triceps in the lengthened position. And then we'll go back to tricep extensions with a specialty bar. We do the same thing for biceps. In accumulation 1, we'll train the biceps with the elbow behind the body. In accumulation 2, we'll do, intensification 1, we'll do dumbbell curls with the elbow by the side of the body. The third phase of the 12-week macro cycle, we put the elbows in front of the body with a Scott curl or some form of curl, maybe a spider curl. And in the last phase, the intensification 2 of the 12-week cycle, we'll do curls with a barbell. Okay, so, and we're doing this for every single muscle group: calves, shoulders, biceps, triceps, delts. It's all structured. Abs as well. We've got anti-rotation exercises, upper ab exercise. Your gammas to target the lower abs as well. So we're making sure in every 12-week cycle, we're using exercises that target those muscles in different strength curves and different rep ranges as well. Okay, so it's very important that you are using different exercises to challenge the muscle fibers of those muscles at different parts. Does that make sense, Joe?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, we know with you know, for example, when you're doing bicep curls, if you're doing the incline curl, yeah, it gets harder sort of, you know, in that sort of mid range, yeah. Whereas, you know, when you do different variations of curls, it's harder at the bottom or it's harder at the top. Like a spider curl, for example, the peak contractions are the harder. So that's why it's important that we overload the muscles in different ways. There's also making sure we different modes of contractions. We use isometrics, we use eccentrics. We're not just focusing on lifting the weight. Sometimes we do pauses and holds, and that's why we want to make sure we're targeting the muscles and teaching the body to recruit different motor units. Okay, so hypertrophy is a complicated thing, and yeah, we're still learning about it as well. Now, any questions on that? We've had a few questions though, so let's I'll pop them up. All right, I think we got 3 or 4 so far. First one is I can't remember the date of the shoot. All right, I don't know what it is, but
In 9 weeks' time.
Saturday, the 30th of April. Okay. I'm 99.999% sure that's what it is. It's the last Saturday in April. Okay. So we've had a question here. Is it beneficial to carb up before workouts? Usually train at 6 a.m. and have breakfast after training and not before. Okay. So great question. So it depends if you want fat loss. Well, this is interesting. If you want fat loss, the research is quite interesting. Okay, basically, the research shows there's no benefit to doing a workout fasted. All right, if you do a workout fasted versus doing it unfasted, it doesn't matter. What matters is how many calories you have for that day. Okay, that's the most important thing. Now, what the interesting thing is, research shows if you're doing long training sessions in the morning, so more than maybe a 15 to 20-minute workout, the research has shown that if you have something before you train, most people will actually train harder having had something. So, say you're going for a 10K run, all right, and you're doing it fasted, all right, that might take you an hour. If you have something before you go, it could take you 57 minutes. So you're probably going to, you know, have a more beneficial workout by having something before. In the gym, you will 100% be able to get more reps, train heavier and harder with some food in your system. All right. So I would definitely have something before you come in. At 6 a.m. is obviously quite hard. It could be some dates with a bit of peanut butter. It could be an apple with some peanut butter. It could be a little bit of a protein shake. I definitely have some before you train 100%. I could not train legs heavy if I didn't have any food in me. I'd really struggle. Would you advise on a protein shake after rather than before? I'd rather have a protein shake after a workout rather than before. Whey spikes insulin. All right, so it's going to give you a bit more of a that mTOR response we spoke about. It will have whey protein is so fast absorbing, it does spike insulin, even though it's not a carbohydrate. It's a fast acting protein. So having a whey protein shake after training is a really good way to go. Anything you want to add on that, Zoe, before we crack on with the presentation?
Yeah, in terms of the question is highlighted now, I'll start with that one. So in terms of, we want to make sure we're having protein evenly throughout the day. And one of the ways to spike muscle protein synthesis is to have protein to ingest it. So if you're not a big fan of eating before training, that's where supplementation can come in. So you could use a whey protein shake to get amino acids and spike that process off, or you could, like Sam mentioned earlier, use essential amino acids, so EAAs, in your water while you're training, and that will be a bit of a benefit to you as well in terms of starting off that process. Carbing up before workouts, obviously can depend on how many calories you've got, your carbohydrate allowance, because, if you're like a female who has to diet on 1,200 calories, you're not going to have too much room for those sort of things. So I don't think it's essential. Can be beneficial. So you got to just be smart with what sources you're using. So yeah, fruit and stuff like that, as Sam mentioned earlier.
If it was me and I was training at 6 a.m., I'd probably have a banana with a little bit of peanut butter before the workout. I'd get to the gym. I'd make sure in my intro workout shake, I've got 500 milliliters of water. I'd have 2 scoops of essential amino acids. So obviously when we train, that's the only time, any time in life, where we can actually directly get nutrients in the muscles. Okay, when we're doing bicep curls, blood is going to the muscles. All right. If you're drinking EAAs, which are the essential amino acids your muscles need to grow and repair, with creatine. All right. Maybe if you are lean enough, with some carbs in there as well, a bit of pineapple juice, cyclic dextrin, whatever carbs you wanna use that you get on well with. Drinking them while you train is gonna give you one hell of a pump. All right, it's gonna help you maximize that sacroplasmic hypertrophy. Also, there's research that shows if you're glycogen depleted, you haven't got many carbs in your system. Those type 2B fibers, which are the ones that have the biggest potential for muscle growth, the myofibrillar hypertrophy, building dense muscle tissue, they fatigue quicker, even though they don't need glycogen, because the reps are more nervous system stimulated, they're more strength reps. They will fatigue quicker without glycogen in the system. So a little bit of carbs before you train will help you a lot. If you're very lean, a bit more carbs before you train as well will help you. Again, like Zoe said, it does depend on how many calories you have. It could just be an apple for some people. It could be 2 bagels with jam and honey for someone else that's lean. It depends how much muscle mass you have, and it depends if you're male or female. Male's got more potential for carbs. The more muscle mass you have, the harder you train, the more advanced you are, the more potential you have for carbs as well. Okay, let's crack on. Let's look at the more nutrition things now. Now, nutrition. All right, we wanted to go a bit into training, just so when the coaches tell you something, you do listen. Most of you are as good as gold, mate. So, yeah, we're not complaining. We got a great group of clients. But calories are going to be the most important thing now. Now, I know you're thinking, oh my God, I know calories are important. But so many of you are still making stupid mistakes. All right. I still make silly mistakes sometimes. I've been doing this for 15 years. All right. So the basics of calories. If you're in a deficit, you probably want to have a bit more protein. Okay. Carbohydrates are muscle sparing. You don't need quite as many carbs if you're in a calorie surplus and you're trying to build muscle. People get this confused all the time. When they're trying to lose fat, they lower calories and they lower protein as part of that. When they're trying to build muscle, they just eat more and more protein. All right. When you're trying to build muscle, you don't need as much protein. You can lower it slightly, and more carbohydrates will help you build muscle tissue. Okay, that's one thing. Anything to add on that? So I know a few people get that confused, don't they?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, if you're in a deficit, then yeah, your protein requirements are going to be greater, because when we're putting you into that calorie deficit, we're taking the body into a catabolic state, which means it's going to start breaking down its own tissue. So the last thing we wanted to start using or breaking down is your muscle mass. So in terms of what we can do to control that, is making sure that you're hitting your protein by eating adequate amounts and that you're training hard. So yeah, protein is, especially if you're in an energy deficit, is a vital one to get right and be really consistent with.
Okay, so obviously making sure you're hitting your protein is important, and ideally you do want to spread that through the day. You do want to have a bolus dose of protein. It is fine, but you want to be making sure you try and have at least 3 to 4 protein servings through the day. Now, calories, guys, you need to track vigilantly. All right, so many clients don't track vigilantly. All right, and when I really hone down on them, the results are like way better. So, saying you have a handful of cashew nuts, like if you're prepping for a photo shoot, guys, that is bullshit. All right, we don't know what a handful is. It could be 40 grams, which is 221 calories. It could be 60 grams, which is 332. It could be 80 grams, which is 441. All right, there's a massive difference in regards to a handful of cashew nuts. So you need to weigh them. You need to be very vigilant, not just with nuts, but with all your foods. Okay, you can't just randomly pick things on MyFitnessPal. All right, look at this, for example. This is a beef stew. All right, now I won't name the name, but this is one of the clients in SOS. She was having a beef stew. All right, once a day, basically. All right, and all she was doing was going onto MyFitnessPal and choosing a stew. All right, and basically what happens here is you can see on MyFitnessPal the variance in the calories. You could put it in as 80. All right, it could be 472. It could be 535. I had one client, and she won't mind me naming her, Rachel Sheeran. She was putting toast into MyFitnessPal, and she was just looking for the lowest calorie toast. All right, and I know full well that wasn't the toast she was having. She was cutting up a lovely big slice of sourdough toast, and she was putting it in as a Weight Watchers thin toast. All right, and honestly, she didn't know. She didn't realize that was a mistake. Okay, so the biggest mistake that you can make is just randomly putting in foods. If you're having a piece of bread, you need to zap that piece of bread into MyFitnessPal. Make sure it is a whole-vis, whole meal brown slice of bread. All right, and you might even want to weigh it as well. All right, we've all been there. That someone just said we've all made this mistake. All right, so and this particular client, what was happening was her protein was really low. at the end of the day because the beef stew had a very low amount of protein. All right, but she was using a lot of mince for the protein. Okay, and what happened then was she was eating more food to try and hit her protein target. So what happened then? Her calories were way higher because she was opting for things like eggs and salmon and maybe, you know, other foods like that to get her protein in. So she thought she was doing 1,800 calories. She swear on the Bible that she was doing 1,800 calories, but she wasn't. It was more like 2,400. Just a silly mistake that she was making. So you have to track vigilantly. If you're making homemade recipes, put the ingredients into MyFitnessPal. Don't just search for random soup or beef stew or Sunday dinner. We've all done it. Oh, Sunday dinner, 700 calories. I'll have that. No, your Sunday dinner had about 24 roasties and 3 Yorkshire puddings. Yeah, it probably had more like 1,800. So just being vigilant with that is important. And here we go, the handful of nuts. All right, we've all seen this one. All right, look at the variance here. You could have a handful of nuts, which is 170 calories, a handful of nuts, which is 248. Which one is it? If you're having 2 handfuls a day and there's 118 calorie difference with each hand, all right, that's 236 calories a day difference. Yeah, and that's just from your snacks. All right, you do that every week. All right, and you're looking at about what, 2,500 calories at the end of the day, end of the week. That's massive. That's your pound of fat just from making this silly mistake. So look, if you're not losing tissue on a weekly basis, you're not in an energy deficit. It is that simple, guys. We're not calling you liars. All right, we're not saying that we don't believe you. It's just you're not sticking to your calories. You're trying to, you think you are, but you're just making a mistake somewhere. All right, and we see this loads and loads and loads. I had one client that was having a lot of peanut butter. So I was like, right, show me a teaspoon. The teaspoon was heaped. I was like, no, a teaspoon is level. Imagine the teaspoon has liquid on it. That's what a teaspoon is. All right, so she worked it out. Each teaspoon was 2.5. She was adamant it was a teaspoon. So be careful with it. Weigh everything out. Anything you need to add? So I know you've been making these mistakes in the past as well.
Oh God, yeah, we all learn the hard way at some point. But you were talking about the peanut butter then, it made me laugh. Like on I think it's on one of my Instagram stories a few months ago, I posted my one of my breakfasts where it was like oats, a bit of fruit, and then a peanut butter. But I do actually weigh my peanut butter out. I've learned that one now. So I have it's usually 10 or 15 grams, which is like basically like a teaspoon, a level teaspoon. And one of my clients saw that. I was like, oh my God, that breakfast looked lovely. So I had the same. I said, oh great, yes, you know. And I said, did you weigh out the peanut butter? And she went, so I said, oh, it's about a teaspoon. And she went, oh no, I had a tablespoon. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How many calories are in that? But yeah, we all learn these things the hard way. So yeah, you do have to be diligent with everything. And like, my auntie every week, she does me a Sunday roast, and I literally get the Sunday roast. And it sounds really like sad now, but it's got to be done. I will literally get a little bowl, I scoop it off the plate, put it in the bowl, weigh it on the scales, so I know how much I'm having of everything, and then that goes onto a fresh plate then. So yeah, like, don't get me wrong, like guesstimating foods when, I don't know, you're eating out or anything like that, it's not a bad thing to do. It's better to guesstimate than not track at all. But when you're prepping for a photo shoot, unfortunately, you just got to be that little bit stringent and make sure you're on top of everything and leaving no stone unturned.
Yeah, and this is why when you see bodybuilders, they eat the same thing every day. Why? They know exactly what's in it. A bodybuilder won't weigh their foods because they know exactly. They've been doing it for so long. They might do a 24-week prep. They'll have the same breakfast every day. So they know whether that's working for them or not. All right, they probably still weigh it. Most of them do. But they have the same thing. It just takes the thought process away. It's one less thing to think about. Mark Zuckerberg gets up every day. He's the richest man in the world, or one of them. He's an absolute billionaire. He wears the same clothes every day. Why does one of the richest men in the world wear the same clothes every day? It's one less thing to think about. Success is about making decisions easy. If you wake up and you think, right, should I wear my Hugo Boss suit or my Armani suit or this suit? He wears the same suit every day. It's just black tracksuit bottoms, a black polo top, and black shoes. Really simple. He wears a Casio watch. He's the richest man in the world, but he makes decision making for him is easy. What he wears in the morning is autopilot, and we need to get breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks for you on autopilot. When it becomes autopilot, it's easy. And that's why people don't eat out a lot as well, because again, like you said, Zoe, they lose control. All right. It's not saying you can't eat out. Of course you can, but you just need to be careful on how often do you do it, because you're minimizing the chances of messing up then. Okay. So if you're not losing weight, you're not in an energy deficit. Now, notice I say energy deficit, not calorie deficit. So there's more than one way to manipulate energy deficit. You can get your steps up. You can do things like that as well. They're going to have a positive effect. So the main thing you need to start with, guys, 9 weeks out, start with your food. You can't out-train a stupid nutritional errors repeated over and over. If you think you're having 140 calories of cashew nuts and it's 300 and you're doing that every day, we're not going to be able to out-train that. No matter how hard we train in the gym, how hard you push yourself in a Wednesday conditioning, it's not going to happen. So can we prep your food? Can we be very vigilant? Make sure you got your weighing skills. And can we eat more natural food? Because if you're eating green beans, you can't eat too many of them because there's nothing in them. Broccoli, there's nothing in it. Cucumber, there's nothing in it. If you're eating your cruciferous vegetables, you can't really go wrong with those foods. Whereas if you're eating more calorie-dense foods like hummus or maybe nuts, coconut oil, peanut butter, then you need to be really careful. And if you are in an energy deficit, this will happen. This is my online client Tag. All right, he's from Ireland. He travels the world as an investment banker, as a stockbroker. He deals in crypto as well. He's lost a stone in less than a month. He's 1 stone down in less than a month. He's only 84 kilos starting, and now he's 77.1. All right, his goal was 70 kilos by the end of the year. All right, we've achieved 51% of that target already. All right, and we've only been going for a month. We've got 11 months to do the rest. So he's a very happy client of mine. Anything you want to add about energy deficit, Zoe, and stuff like that?
Not really. Like just in terms of, I think if it's an energy deficit, so it's not always about taking away food. I'd much rather my clients learn to manipulate like lifestyle factors. So, like training, NEAT. So walking that you mentioned there, make sure they're doing X amount of steps. I'd rather get people doing more activity than taking food away from them because there's only so far you can go with food. So, make sure you're like being strict with your tracking and your weighing and your measuring and all that jazz. But it's about energy deficit, not just calorie deficit.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, we've got a few questions. We'll answer these at the end. So things to focus on, guys. Training hard 4 times a week. If you want to build muscle tissue, there's a reason why we'll do shoulder press in the A series on a Monday, and then we'll do it in the B series on a Thursday. If you're not taking steroids, which no one is in our gym, you have to make sure that you're challenging your muscles with training frequency. 2 times a week tends to work best for most people. So that's why if you do barbell shoulder press in the A series on a Monday, then on a Thursday, we'll do dumbbell shoulder press. If we do bench press on a Monday, we'll do dumbbell bench press on a Thursday. So you need to make sure you are stimulating muscle growth twice a week. And that's why we have our 2 upper body days and 2 leg days. All right. So train hard 4 days a week, push your body. In terms of nutrition, I know it's very basic and you might have thought about more advanced things, but doing the basics well is what gets results. Track your calories accurately. I'm telling you now, 99% you listen to this call are not being as vigilant as you should be. There's calories slipping in somewhere. Now, you can minimize this by making sure 90% of your diet is more whole foods. So if you do have a little bit too much broccoli or apple or banana, it doesn't matter because the calories in those foods are very nutrient dense, calorie scarce. So eating more whole foods will minimize this anyway. Eat lots of veggies. In the build-up to my photo shoot, I was doing 500 grams of veggies for breakfast. Okay, for breakfast. I was doing about 1.2 kilos of vegetables a day. All right. The more veggies I eat, guess what? The leaner I got. Okay, which is crazy because I was just so full. Fiber, obviously, levels were high. Satiety was high. Energy was high. Blood sugar levels were managed very well as well. All right. So focus on those things there. And in terms of lifestyle, increase those steps. Get them as high as you can in a sustainable way. As the photo shoot gets closer, you can start pushing steps to more of an unsustainable place where you might have to go for that walk you don't want to. All right. But for now, just get your steps up 10, 12, 15,000. Sleep well and be coachable. All right. So they're the things you want to focus on now. All right. Anything you want to add on any of those, though?
Sleep. It's massively overlooked. It's probably one of the biggest factors which is going to help you with success. Like sleep is literally the foundation of health. And, if you can nail that or at least improve it while you're going through this process, it's going to make everything a lot easier, especially when it comes to your decision making and your ability to be consistent and steer the course. Because, anyone who doesn't get enough sleep just turns into like a really tall 2-year-old who's going to be having a temperature tantrum like 5 times a day. So yeah, if you can nail that, that's going to be a bit of a game changer for you guys. But yeah, like it doesn't sound sexy or exciting, but it's just do the basics well. And if you nail those things, then you can get a little bit more techy with other things that we can look at, which we'll probably touch on closer to the shoot, because that's when those things become a bit more important. But yeah, just do the big rocks and nail those and be consistent with them.
So guys, any other questions on that, let me know. I'll see we have got some comments here. Okay, so I'm not able to track my meals whilst on the ship. How can I make sure I'm hitting 180 grams of protein? Cool. So what you could do, Em, is just go with your fists. All right, a fist size of protein is normally about 25 grams. So you can go with that. All right, so 2 fists is 50 grams. 4 fists would be like 100 grams. 8 fists a day will be 200 grams. So through the day, you want to make sure you're having around 7 fists of protein. Obviously, a protein shake, 1 scoop is around 30 grams, 25 to 30 grams anyway. So you could, if you haven't got room for 7 fists of meat, you could have 4 fists and 3 lots of whey protein. Now, EAAs are fantastic. I think you should take them. You're getting lean now. You've lost a lot of body fat. You're doing well. EAAs will contain 1 scoop of EAAs will have about 25 calories. All right. And it'll contain just as many amino acids as a tub of whey, as a scoop of whey protein, which has 120 calories. So you can get all the benefits of the whey protein without the satiety, without the calories, with a scoop of EAAs. So Casper, one of the guys I know, a good friend of mine in Denmark, what he'll do with clients is post-workout, they'll have whey protein. All right, when they get the last few pounds that they need to lose, he takes the whey protein away and he gives them EAAs instead. It's an easy way to create a calorie deficit without the detriment of protein. All right, so that's what you can do. And yeah, the SOS breakfast shake is a great pre-workout. It's got caffeine in there. It's got a bit of L-carnitine in there as well, a bit of guarana. So it does give you metabolism, a bit of a boost, makes you feel awake. We've only got a couple of tubs left, and I'm not too sure if we're going to continue with the product because, yeah, the company we buy them off have put up the minimum orders. So we need to look at whether we're going to continue with that. So if you want one, there's only 2 left. And I think Helen Louise wants one as well. So, yeah, chance to get the last one. And then do we need to track veggies, green leaves, etc.? No, I wouldn't worry about tracking veggies in terms of calories. Eat them though. Track them in regards to how many you're having. I set up a lot of my clients with nutrition targets that are a bit aggressive. So what I'll do is I might put a guy on, say, 2,000 calories, which is quite low. But then I'll tell him he can have as much green vegetables or cruciferous vegetables as he can. Now, I know that he might then eat 2,500 calories. But I know a good 500 of those are coming from vegetables. And we know the thermogenic effect of vegetables is very high, up to 25%, okay, because it's very fibrous. All right, so that means that a lot of the calories you're eating from vegetables are actually getting burned off in the digestion process. So I would not worry about tracking veg in terms of calories, but I would mentally track it to make sure you're getting at least 1 kilo a day. If you're a guy, if you're a girl, more like 600, 700 grams. A good tip, last tip from me, is to make sure however much meat you have on your plate, if you've got 250 grams of meat, try and have double the amount of veg. So 500 grams of veg, 250 grams of meat. If you do that, your cravings will be minimal for sugar, things like that. It'll be great. So yeah, any other questions, guys? We've got some good questions there. Date of the shoot is the 30th of April. Definitely would have some carbs before training. If your goal is to put on muscle mass, it's pointless going to the gym if you haven't got anything in your system. You're going to fatigue too soon. You're going to burn through muscle tissue if you haven't got any glycogen in your muscles. And yeah, I think we've all been there. Bex Moore said that. All right, making mistakes with their food. So thanks, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. That's a really good one. We'll whack that out on the SOS app tomorrow for people to catch up on. And if you do have any questions in the meantime, you're watching this on the replay, comment below. And myself and Zoe can get back to you. Anything you want to add, Zoe, based on the photo shoot prep?
No, just don't stress out too much about it, guys. Just enjoy the process, learn from it, and then we'll have a good day when the day of the photo shoot arrives. And it's like, if you've not done it before, it can seem like a really daunting, scary thing. But honestly, the atmosphere on the last few shoots we've done has been like amazing. It's people just come together all on a similar journey to each other, supporting each other, dishing out the Haribos on the day. that's always a perk. I love that part. So yeah, it's a good fun day. So don't stress it. Put the effort in now, do the hard yards now, and then you can enjoy yourself on the day then.
That's it. Just enjoy it. And I tell you what, you'll be in a much better position for doing it than not doing it. All right. You learn a lot. And then guess what? The more you learn, the better you're going to progress in the future. So use it as a stepping stone, and just embrace it, enjoy it, and have some fun. And last thing, don't forget, me and Zoe are here to help you. So speak to your coach, be accountable, check in every week. The guys are going to be having coaching calls now, Zoe, every 3 weeks, innit? Yeah,
they should be.
Yeah. So most of the members now, depending on what program package you're on, you'll be getting a coaching call every 3rd week. Okay. So yeah, for all the semi-private members and stuff. All right. Okay. Happy days. Right. Good. Enjoy your cardio, Zoe. You got cardio now, haven't you?
Yeah, I got my 45 minutes. Bring it on.
Assault bike?
Oh yeah, always.
Which one are you going to use? The new one or the old one?
No, I'm spoiled now. I actually, even though it's harder, I prefer the new ones. So yeah, I'll be on one of those.
You much smoother. All right, and I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, see you tomorrow.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.